Alrighty, we're going to go ahead and get started. My name is Cole Burton. I'm the account manager here at DockMaster Software. Today, we're going to have the FuelCloud webinar. Uh, Showing us FuelCloud is going to be James over at FuelCloud today. James is great. We work with him a lot. He's going to be the person showing us the presentation and most likely the one you'll be speaking with throughout the process if you choose to continue moving forward with FuelCloud. But I'm just going to leave it up to James today to do most of the talking. So all you.
Hey, Cole, thank you so much for the introduction. Nice to meet all you guys. Happy Tuesday morning or Tuesday afternoon, depending on where you're at out in the world. Just getting my day started out here out in Oregon, which is where FuelCloud is headquartered out of. Just 2 points of housekeeping before I get started on how FuelCloud can help automate your fueling operations at your fuel dock. The first point of housekeeping is we are recording this training on FuelCloud. If you would like that recording, feel free to let Cole or myself know. We'd be more than happy to share it with you. Maybe there's someone at your office who wasn't able to attend today. More than happy to get it out there. Secondly, there will be time for Q&A, but with the amount of people we have on this meeting, we do want to save that for the end of this presentation. My guess is my run through of FuelCloud should run through about 25 minutes, so we will have more than enough time to answer all those questions. But if you do have any questions, feel free to use the chat feature to jot those questions down. They will be shared across the whole group. You can chat me directly. What I will do at the Q&A portion of this is I will start out by going through any questions that were there in the chat feature from you guys to start off, and then we will also kind of unmute and take any verbal questions as well. But without further ado, what I am really excited to kind of go through for you guys today is how DockMaster and FuelCloud work together to automate the fueling operations of your fuel dock or even some of your bulk tanks on land for your own equipment. What I would like to start with is what FuelCloud is. I have some install photos to show you as well, so you get a sense of what this would look like if you were to get FuelCloud for your operations. And then after that, we'll touch base on our software. And what I think puts a nice, neat bow on this whole presentation is actually showing you what your fueling process would look like, you know, initiating a transaction from the FuelCloud app and how you would use DockMaster to apply it to a point of sale ticket to get paid for that fuel sale. So in the pursuit of kind of explaining what FuelCloud is and how it works, to answer the very simple question is, what is a FuelCloud anyway? FuelCloud is a cloud-based fuel management system. It's actually used by various industries: trucking, construction, municipal, but most importantly, especially today, marinas. A lot of businesses, regardless of what industry they're in, have a need for control over their bulk fuel tanks and visibility and reporting into where that fuel is going. FuelCloud was founded and invented just about 7 years ago. We've received 3 patents on our fuel management system. We were invented by a local fuel distributor in Oregon as a response to some of the traditional fuel management systems on the market, to bring a software first, hardware light approach to control visibility and reporting on your bulk fuel tanks. That software first, hardware light approach, and with DockMaster's industry leading marina management software, it made for a very easy pairing of our 2 companies to give you guys a comprehensive solution for your fuel docks. Because we are software first, hardware light, it actually means some things at FuelCloud. It means that 25 of my coworkers are full-time developers. That is a really, really good thing for you guys, because if I was a developer, I don't think the product would work very well. I bring that up though, because that development team is what actually wrote this integration and built this partnership between FuelCloud and DockMaster to automate anytime fuel is dispensed off of your fuel dock to automate that data capture and move it into the DockMaster point of sale. That 25-person development team, they didn't just write that integration and kick their feet up. Those coworkers of mine, they actually work around the clock, quite literally day and night, to bring updates to the FuelCloud system about every 2 weeks, new features and bug fixes. This is a software and a solution that will grow with your company as your fueling operations, and your marina grows and expands. We're able to update so frequently. I'll throw it out there with a caveat. We don't have massive updates every 2 weeks, which is a good thing. I don't love it when I have a huge update to my phone. But new features and bug fixes are able to be pushed every 2 weeks because this software, the FuelCloud system, your control, visibility, and reporting lives at fuelcloud.com behind your email and password. So that software, when we have an update for it, we just update our website in the middle of the night. And the next time you log into FuelCloud, you're accessing the most up-to-date, most advanced fuel management system on the market. Last but not least, I do want to throw out there, I've worked with marinas small and large, regardless of how many dock hands you have, or maybe you have a full service wing where you have a lot of equipment that takes fuel too, that has nothing to do with selling fuel off of your fuel dock. You can put every single employee, every single asset, and run 10 transactions a month. You can also run 10 billion transactions a month. FuelCloud will not nickel and dime you. We have a very simple business model. There is a hardware cost to get FuelCloud outfitted with your tanks, and there is a non-contractual monthly software as a service fee of $95 a month per marina or per fuel dock. I throw out it's non-contractual. I recognize that unlike the trucking industries I work with, some marinas that I work with are seasonal, and there are times where your fuel dock is not in use. You do not need to pay that $95 a month when you're not using FuelCloud in your fuel dock. You can very simply cancel and pause that subscription from your web portal whenever you need it and resume it the second that first customer shows up in your busy season. Setting all of that aside and really just kind of giving you guys probably what you came here for was, what is FuelCloud and how does it work? FuelCloud is a really simple solution to track every drop of fuel out of your fuel dock or your on-land, dry stack, your on-land bulk fuel tanks. Those three components are listed up here on the screen that you should be able to see. The first component is a piece of hardware. That hardware is for security and tracking on your bulk fuel tanks. The second component is the free FuelCloud mobile app. That is for authorizing transactions. And the second component is the web portal. That serves two purposes. That is, one, your command center, where you can manage who has access through the mobile app, and you can see where all of your fuel is going. That is your fuel management system for control, visibility, and reporting purely from a fuel perspective. The second thing that web portal does is it acts as a bridge between your dock hands who are authorizing fueling transactions from the app and your DockMaster point of sale system, which will be fed all of the fueling data that is now going to be automatically tracked once your FuelCloud system is installed. Circling back though, to just put a little meat on these bones, what I think you need to know about the hardware is it's about the size of a shoebox, and it should take about half a day to a full day to install on your fuel dock. FuelCloud, while we're headquartered in Hillsboro, Oregon, we have distribution in all 50 states and throughout North America. Feel free to get in touch with Cole or myself. We'd be more than happy to introduce you to a local petroleum equipment company that carries FuelCloud. That way someone can actually go walk around your fuel dock and understand your operations to make sure you get the right quote on that hardware. That hardware, as I mentioned, that does security and tracking. How does it do that? Security is by design. Our hardware is installed, between the power source and your dispenser or the power source and your fuel pump. That way, fuel is not pumped, fuel is not authorized. The actual physical fueling system is not powered unless FuelCloud gives it the green light. We are between the power source and the dispenser. The second piece of a hardware tracking that comes into play, hardwired connection to the dispenser or a hardwired connection to the meter, whether you have old or new retail. If you have retail style dispensers like you would see at a Shell or a 76, or maybe on your on-land bulk fuel tank, a little bit up the road, you just have a small little mechanical meter. Our hardware is very flexible in working with all of that. And we do have a local presence wherever you might be, to have someone come check out your fuel dock. I personally would love to get out there myself, but it's a little bit long of a travel, depending on where you guys are to come from Oregon. So thankfully we have people local. Getting that hardware, as I mentioned, half a day to a full day to get it installed, and our lead times are great. We can ship same day to make sure that you get your system up and running as quickly as you would like. The second piece, I would argue, is probably the most valuable piece and the piece that you would see in your day-to-day operations the most, is our mobile app. As I mentioned, that's for authorizing transactions. That is a required step in the process. FuelCloud works from an authorization from a dock hand or from a dock manager, or from maybe a house account. But FuelCloud only pumps fuel once a specific nozzle and a PIN number is entered into the mobile app. I will run through that mobile app at the end of this presentation so you guys know how that works, and you guys can see that actual process. But what I think you need to know about the mobile app is this. It's free. It's available on Apple and Android phones and tablets. And when someone needs to get fuel, that transaction needs to be authorized from the FuelCloud mobile app. It takes about 10 seconds, and I think that's maybe even an overestimation. You just need to have the app while you're at the fuel dock, know your PIN number, and the app process itself is extremely intuitive. That is what sends power to that specific nozzle so the customer can then get fuel. When the fueling transaction is completed, when that fuel stops flowing, the data plan on the phone or a tablet then uploads that information to FuelCloud and to DockMaster, specifically the DockMaster point of sale, the second that last drop of fuel stops flowing. So someone gets fuel at the dock, that's initiated by the dock hand. They walk up to the shop. They say, hey, I would like to get a 6-pack, some ice, and also I just fueled up on nozzle 3. Can you apply my fueling transaction there? Your dock hand or whomever is working at that register would have all that information available to apply to it, removing the manual process of giving a customer a handwritten receipt and hoping they bring that up to the register and having them type it in correctly. What FuelCloud does through that mobile app process is fully eliminate any chances for human error. You might be thinking to yourself, hey, not all of my dock hands have smartphones, or maybe they don't want to use them. What do you have for me, James? On this next slide, I want to show you just a picture of what FuelCloud has to bring out to your fuel docks if you do need a device from us. That is an iPad in a heated and cooled waterproof extreme weather tablet enclosure. But before doing that, I just want to touch base on the web portal very briefly. That is where you and your other administrative coworkers can manage your list of dock hands, your list of admins who should have access to the fuel tanks. Maybe you have a couple house accounts you want to give a PIN number to so they can turn on the pumps after hours. That's where all that is managed from. Please know that is also the bridge between FuelCloud and DockMaster. Data goes from the app to your FuelCloud account immediately over to the DockMaster point of sale. The last thing too is I will also admit there is a lot in the FuelCloud software that I will not cover today. It's not pertinent to a specific fuel program at a marina. I don't want to cause extra confusion here, but if you do have bulk tanks on land that are not for your fueling operation, or maybe you have other companies that may have a need for fuel management, please know there is a lot in this software that will not be covered today, but I'd be more than happy to cover on another meeting. Just to kind of round things out before I show you guys a couple pictures here. What I want to do is just once more highlight how all these work together. The hardware itself is what is going to be sending commands to your dispensers or to your pumps and collecting how much fuel is flowing. That entire process is initiated by someone using the free FuelCloud mobile app, choosing what pump number they want to turn on, typing in their PIN number and hitting the activate pump button. Fuel and how much is dispensed is displayed in the app as fuel is flowing. When someone is done filling up, you can send the customer up to the register. And as they're walking up there, how, the date, the time, if they took gas or diesel, and the volume of the fuel that they took out is moved from the mobile app automatically to your FuelCloud account. So there is record there and over to your DockMaster point of sale. That way it can be automatically applied to the point of sale ticket. And that's all going to happen before that customer even takes their first step up the dock. It moves in real time. Moving forward here, I want to show you guys a couple pictures. This is what we have for maybe the dock where, hey, not all of my dock hands have a smartphone, or maybe we don't want to ask them to use their phones. Whatever it might be, FuelCloud does stand by making sure that everybody has access to the mobile app. This is the FuelCloud pedestal upgrade with an iPad. I have two latches here, and this houses an iPad that is locked into place. There's a fan here and a heater on the back. That iPad comes with a data plan included. You don't need to pay for data outside of that. If you have poor cell coverage, we can run the whole system off of your Wi-Fi, but please know we will actually defer towards using cell coverage. And in the bottom half is that shoebox sized controller hardware that is sitting on the power line for the pumps and connecting to those meters. If you have an iPad out there, you can use the iPad to choose the nozzle, type in your PIN number and activate pump. Or if you have a tech savvy dock hand and they have the app on their phone, they can use that instead of the iPad. Any device with the mobile app on it, as long as you have a PIN number, will allow you to get fuel. And I will throw out there too, you need to be within about 150 feet of the controller hardware to authorize a transaction. You cannot have a dock hand sitting at home turning on the pump for their buddy over the weekend if they're not physically there at work. If your dock is longer than 150 feet, please know we have solutions to extend that coverage range, but it is important to make sure fuel is only dispensed for people that are physically there. And that happens just from a communication signal emitted by our hardware. I will point out too, I've run into a handful of marinas where we have our fuel dock, but then there's also a tank on land for, work around the property. FuelCloud can also work there. We don't just have to go on your fuel dock. As I mentioned earlier, we can work with mechanical type meters, whatever it might be. This is a glimpse inside of that iPad enclosure. We actually have a blue faceplate that holds this vertically moving forward for you guys for extra security. But this is a very common setup for us. Our controller hardware installed with no iPad, every single person who needs to get fuel using the smartphone they already have in their pocket. This is just another glimpse in terms of what that pedestal might look like out in the field for you, but probably what is going to look most familiar to people here on this meeting is just a glimpse of what it looks like to have FuelCloud out at a fueling dock in a marina. House accounts and dock hands initiate transactions from this iPad here to turn on this nozzle to dispense fuel. There are also dock hands here at this install that they're using the smartphone, the app on their smartphone when it's time to get fuel. out here. They initiate that from the phone. They bring the nozzle out, they fuel up, and they send the customer inside to the register when that fueling transaction is completed. That is kind of the long and the short of how the hardware works. What I want to do here is I'd be doing my 25 coworkers a great disservice if I didn't show you guys a little bit about what's in this software. Sorry, I've got a pickup truck rolling by that's backing up. Sorry about that extra noise. I'm going to move over to the web portal, and I'm going to make a brief stop here just to show you guys what I think you need to see in FuelCloud. If you have interest in getting a full run through of this software, feel free to reach out to me directly. We host demos whenever you guys need it. But for the sake of today's presentation, hopefully you guys can all see my web browser here. I'm at fuelcloud.com. And when you want to access your fuel management system, FuelCloud, to have that real-time control over who has access to your tanks and visibility and reporting on your fuel program, whether it's you or a fellow admin, you want to hit this login button, and it actually remembered my login info here. You want to type in your email, your password, and hitting this login button will bring you to your specific FuelCloud account. This is the bridge between the mobile app and the DockMaster point of sale. So this really is where a lot of this very relevant data passes through. Like, prime example, this was a transaction I ran right before the meeting. At this specific marina, the Port of Portland, out of the gas tank, Tuesday morning, the dock manager filled up a customer boat with 9.8 gallons. That transaction was immediately available in the DockMaster point of sale system to be applied to a customer ticket. There is a lot outside of this that can help you run a more intelligent fueling operation, like tank inventories. FuelCloud partners with some of the most major tank monitoring companies that will give physical reads to how much fuel is inside of your tanks and report that back to your FuelCloud system. So all your ins and outs are automatically tracked. We will also give you some data, usage and analytics like transactions per day and pump volume per day. But there are two areas in which I think you will interface with the system the most, outside of just making sure things are working well from the dashboard. It is managing who can be turning on the pumps. This is a list of your employees and their PIN numbers, maybe a house account. I'll touch base on that briefly. The other area in which I think you'll probably spend a little time here is running fueling reports. You want to see how much fuel was run by, a specific dockhand, or maybe you want to do a monthly report on how much gas and how much diesel was dispensed. That's all done there. There's, as I mentioned, a lot of other things to look at here from a pure fuel management perspective, but in terms of running a fueling dock, what I think you need to spend the most time paying attention to today is your list of quote unquote drivers. And these are people who have their own PIN number and they use that PIN number to turn on the pumps. What I would recommend is setting up all of your dock hands with a PIN number. That way you know who is turning on and authorizing what transactions. And that can be done in a couple different ways. You can add them here. You can give them, I would probably recommend putting their real name in here, but I'm just going to go with dockhand number 5. You can assign a PIN number. You can generate a random one. And with each person you add in here, whether it's a dockhand or if you want to give access to a house account, you can specify when their PIN number works and doesn't work. Like, they're not going to need to be working on Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, but Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday is when this dockhand is working. Their PIN number does not work those days that are not included in their access schedule. You can also give limits, like if for whatever reason you want to have a safeguard of you only get to pump 500 gallons a week, you can have that safeguard in there as well. Please know standard settings, and most of our customers go with all days and all times with no limits. But those are kind of two plays we give you in your playbook if you want to have a more restrictive operation. Also, you can go ahead and make those changes at any time. You will not be, for us to keep that as such. If you want to change or review a specific employee's work or access schedule or limits, that can be done by clicking on them to manage their driver profile. Just like that, that PIN number is available to be used out on the fuel dock. It really works just like that. Let's click on a account that has a few more transactions. This is all the transactions associated with our dock manager, the date, the time, like our dashboard, date, time, who fueled up, how much they took out. Cost, I want to throw that out there because I know this is the second time it's popped up. Cost, that is going to be maintained within DockMaster because that is your point of sale system. But if there is an underlying cost you want to associate with your specific tanks, you can most definitely do that with FuelCloud. But please know, cost and pricing, that is all going to be managed in the point of sale system, which is DockMaster. I think this is probably a great time before moving to reports, just to set expectation, just be very, very plain and simple. FuelCloud's role, within the entire fueling process and what we're looking at today, while there are a lot of great things that FuelCloud can do for your fuel program, there are two things that FuelCloud does well as it relates to this partnership. FuelCloud's role in the fueling process is to authorize fueling transactions, aka use the mobile app, and two, to track the fuel that is dispensed. That is our core competency, authorization and tracking. And what that tangibly looks like is knowing the date and time and who pulled out how much fuel. Those are the two things that we do very well in this process. And those are the two things that relate very, very specifically to your fueling operation and to DockMaster as well. Authorization of transactions and tracking how much fuel is going out. And I guess the bonus third thing that we do is we get that data over to DockMaster really freaking fast. Once information is completed and that transaction is done at the fuel dock, that data is available on the DockMaster point of sale. Just to kind of wrap things up on the software piece, the last chunk of the software that I want to show you is the reporting tab. There is a lot of data that is going to be flowing through this account over to DockMaster through your busy seasons. This is going to create a great database of information for you to review your fueling program. And FuelCloud has probably the best reporting tool available from a fuel management system. Our reporting tool allows you to create canned reports like a fuel by product daily report or how much fuel was dispensed every week. Those are the kind of reports you can create and save in your account. There is unbelievable flexibility when it comes to this. I'm going to do a fuel by dockhand report. And why I go with that is it's just an example of the different data points you can group your transactions by. What we're going through and doing is creating a report template, and then I'm going to actually set it up to automatically deliver to me and to my accountant, let's say monthly. So in terms of setting up a report like this, you can group by any data point we collect. I'm going to group by driver name. That is where we have all of our dock hands listed. So that'll give us fuel by dock hand. And what file format do I want to receive? Excel, CSV, TXT. This is also very relevant if you have an accounting software or an accountant that wants data in a specific way. FuelCloud can give it to you in that way. And once more, I just want to state, this is for your own review of the fueling program. This has nothing to do with getting data into DockMaster. That happens automatically and instantaneously. But if I want to do a monthly review of how much fuel each of our dock hands are pumping to see, who the dock hand of the month was, a name, a group by, a file format, and then a date range. That way you can create this report once and then forget it. This is going to give us a report every Monday morning because it'll give us the previous week's transactions or the first of every month. That way you set these settings, save it, and then it'll reoccur for you. You set it to be reoccurring on that schedule. This is my email. So I'm going to send this report to my email every month. and I'm going to have it go to my accountant as well. Second day of the following month, I will receive this Excel to my email. That way I don't have to log into FuelCloud or get that. We just do the service of bringing it over to you. So we have a lot of this foundational stuff set up down here. This is where we can make sure you get the report in the way that you need it. These are the column settings, and this is also every data point we collect anytime fuel is dispensed. I mentioned these are the column settings because you can create this Excel to be in whatever order that you want. If you want time to be the first column, or maybe I go ahead and grab driver name because that's where all my dock hands are identified as. And I'll make that column A for this Excel. If you want to do date and time in a specific format, whatever it might be, if you want to pick and choose what information is included and not included, you most definitely can. Save this report, and now you have a Fuel by Dockhand monthly report that is emailed out to wherever you need it to go automatically and delivered the second day of that month. Let's say I get it and I don't love it, and there's some changes. You can always edit it. You can always download it middle of the month if you need it for another reason. You can always preview, you can delete. There is a lot that you can do with the FuelCloud reporting tool in terms of having good insight into your fuel program. Alrighty, with all of that being said, I know I'm going a little bit longer than I expected. Sorry, there are a lot of things I wanted to cover. The last piece, which will take us just a moment, and I think this is kind of the perfect bow to put on a presentation of FuelCloud, is to show you what does the process look like for getting fuel once FuelCloud is installed, or at least I'll do the best that I can to show you what that process looks like. What I'm going to do here is I am going to share my phone screen, and I am going to run through a transaction as if I was one of your dock hands. Hopefully you all can see my phone screen here. This is the free FuelCloud mobile app on an iPhone. This is the same process from an Android phone or tablet. It's the same process on an iPad if you need to get an iPad through FuelCloud as well. So we will show you the nozzles that are right in front of you. And I, as a dockhand, I choose which nozzle I want to turn on for this customer. All right, customer pulled up to nozzle 3. I use that. I type in my PIN number, and it makes sure that I'm an authorized fueler right now, and it gives us the activate pump button. This pump has been engaged. We are now dispensing fuel for this customer. You can wait for the tank to fill up. You can let go of the trigger on the nozzle. You can disconnect from the mobile app. All of those round out transactions. It is that quick. It is that easy. Once you see this page, that transactional information, 34.4 gallons of regular unleaded, has now been pushed through the website and is available in the DockMaster point of sale. I am going to reintroduce Cole here to just touch base briefly on what happens from the DockMaster perspective at this point to round out this presentation. Cole, do you mind touching base here?
Yeah, absolutely. So you'll see here the screen that you guys would see at your POS station. It all just depends on how you want to have your layout, but this example right here will show you on this portion on the right side in the green that says fuel pump. From there, there's that option. Or if you have multiple, say a gas and a diesel pump, those portions are also right above there. But let's just say you click on the fuel pump button itself. If you go to the next slide, it'll show you what's going to appear. It'll show those tickets that have been pushed from FuelCloud into the POS. And from there, you're just going to select which one you want to push and start on that ticket so that you can process that transaction.
Awesome, cool. Thank you. Thank you so much for touching base on that. Once it's been selected and applied, it's just a matter of going through that, classic DockMaster process you guys are all probably very used to in terms of closing out a point of sale ticket. That is everything I wanted to cover. Cole, is there anything that maybe I'm missing you want to touch base on before we look at Q&A?
No, I think that covers most of it. I think that really highlights the big benefits of it for sure.
Awesome. So that is all the content that I needed to cover today. I'm more than happy to hang out here for as long as you guys need. If there are any questions, feel free to send them in that chat feature. Also, here, let me call attention to that chat feature once more, if I can. Or maybe the Q&A feature is what we want to do. Either way, feel free to send any questions to the chat feature or take yourself off of mute if you can and ask any questions you've got. And with all that being said, thank you guys so much for your time today. I do greatly appreciate it. I look forward to being your trusted partner in fuel management.
We can wait just a few more minutes. It looks like there might not be any questions, but we'll just see just in case if anybody has anything. Alrighty, James, I think you just did too good of a job. Nobody had anything they had questions about. You covered it all.
Cole, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to speak, and look forward to getting some of these people kind of squared away and set up with FuelCloud and with DockMaster. I don't know if there's a better experience people can get.
Absolutely. Well, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to James and I think that's it for today. Thank you guys.
Thanks, everybody.